So, welcome, Matt, to Metallurium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Malthusian, this new album, The Summoning Bell, and more things related to the metal world in general. So, we are starting by asking, how are you doing today? How is the band during the last couple of years? Because your previous album, Across Deaths, was released in 2018.
Yeah, we've released stuff. We did a split with Suffer an Hour that came out in 2022. And then we also did a song for a movie soundtrack. That was 2023. And then we got back to writing the album. So it's not like we've been hibernating. We've been working away.
Mhm. Hmm. Okay.
Here we are.
Okay. And when do you decide to writing songs for this new album? It was during the sessions for the previous, as you said, that you recording a song for a game, or now perhaps you record during that sessions, or perhaps it was during the previous sessions, or all the songs news, or perhaps do you rescue any composition that left were out for the previous album?
Yeah, no, there was nothing from the previous album. We had started writing this album in probably during the lockdown, so whatever that was, 2020, 21, started. Then we took a side step to write and record the music for the Suffering Hour split. Then we got back to writing. Then another slight side step to do that movie, the track for the soundtrack.
Mhm.
Um, and then yeah, so it's all in the last couple of years. There's nothing left over. It was all intended for the next album. That was the goal. That's what we did.
Hmm. Okay, okay, okay. So now one thing that I denoted for this new The Simon Bell, it is that you enter with one of the biggest labels that is Relapse Records, because your previous album was released under Dark Descent Records, a medium label compared to the Relapse Records. So how it was the enter to this label, Relapse Records? It was a contact by you, or the label put in contact?
Yeah, so firstly, the last album was released in America on Dark Descent. It was in Europe. It was on Invictus, who we had been on since the very beginning of the band. Our very first release was on Invictus, as was every subsequent release up until this one. With that first release, which was 2013, before the demo had even come out, Relapse had been in contact with us about
Mhm.
signing us then. But at that point, we were happy with where we were, decided not to rock the boat, so to speak. So they had been in contact, we had been in contact with them throughout the years, but it just didn't seem right until this album. There was some lineup changes. The music is slightly different in a sense that it's more direct now. Previous, bar the split,
Mhm.
all previous material, the demo, the EP, the first album, was all a more collaborative writing experience, I suppose. But with this and with the previous, it's just been predominantly me. So there's a change in that. So it seemed like a good time. Why not change label as well and see what they can do? See if they can, which they obviously can, bring it to a much wider audience.
Mhm. Okay, okay, okay. So now let's talking about more about this summoning bell. I saw that now you changed completely the concept of the cover art because your previous album has a different cover art. It's more like black and white and gray areas on this one. Now this album has like a scene there, like a battle scene, like something like this, or the end of the battles, or the volcano less eruption, something like that. So how do you relate the name of the band with the name of the name of the album with the music? Because your music you play like something death metal more and a little touch with black metal.
Yeah, so I think all of our bar this one is comparable, I suppose, to um Below the Hengiform
Mhm,
in its sort of yeah, in its portrayal.
mhm,
This one is based on an old Irish picture of a man just walking down a road. Um it is a predominant yeah, it's a very Irish image. So we took that, gave it to Mitchell Nolte, and asked him to sort of just fuck it up a bit, make it darker. So that's where we are with it. It ties in with the lyrics of the album. Well, for some of the lyrics on the album, um, in that we are in a constant state of unknowing. We don't know where we're from, we don't know where we're going, that sort of thing. So it all, yeah, it all just came together um, as the intention was set.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, okay. So now talking about more the style. So now, well, in the beginning you play like something Black Death, but now you decide to lean down more for the death metal stuff, more brutal stuff, because I hear influence like immolation in your music or these kind of things. So now, how do you label the band? Will we continue to say that you are a Black death metal band, or is just a death metal band now?
Yeah, I still see it as a black death metal band. I suppose none of my influences have changed massively since we started. Um, it definitely does lean more into death metal on this one, but there is, to my ear anyway, it's just it's how I write. Not much has changed in that regard.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, to me it's still black death metal, but yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So now, well, this album has a duration for more than, yes, like it will be in 6 minutes, will be just like an hour. So now, how do you relate this concept with the new trend? As you can see, there is less of these kind of things that are like people listen just singles or or short music, not anymore like an hour and a half albums. So how do you see now this topic when you try to create an album for like more than an hour?
Um, I think that yeah, albums it's a horrible state of affairs that people just listen to one song or fucking short albums, stuff like that. It's supposed to be an experience. You're supposed to give an album some degree of dedication to completely immerse yourself in it.
Mhm.
Um, throughout, we didn't think about, while we were writing, we didn't think about how long it'd be. It makes no issue to us. Um, it's supposed to be a full experience, and as it was realized, it came in at whatever 54 minutes. Um, it's I can't cater to the dwindling attention span of I don't know the mass populace,
Mhm.
nor do I want to fuck them.
Okay. Well, okay, I understand completely about this situation. So now, well, talking about more concepts about this. Now, as you can see, when I hear your music whole still have this kind of situation, the rawness all into the death metal or the black metal stuff. But now you can hear that there's a thousand of productions, some a thousand of productions that releases the extreme music now is very clean. It's not like the 80s or 90s, so raw, rawness or a more organic way. Now you can see a lot of releases with perfection on it.
Hmm.
Perfection, great musicians, great cover art, etc., etc. There's not bad records now. So now, how do you use your opinion about this topic that now the extreme music it is the most perfection thing into the metal scene?
Yeah, that's of no interest to me. The playing isn't perfect. Life isn't fucking perfect. There's obviously there's a place for this if people want to listen to super clean technical playing and stuff like that. I find that that lacks atmosphere. That's not what we do. Um, so I've no real interest. I don't care about them. The music I listen to, it feels palpable. Um, mistakes are important. It has to feel alive. Which I think the soul is ripped out of stuff if it's overproduced and perfectly played. Um, that's my view. There's a place for everything, but that's not where we are. It's not our place.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So now one topic that is common now is that the extreme music push the boundaries into the extreme metal. All the time, the death metal when appears death metal in the 90s, you can see there is a lot of bands that mixture the death metal with black metal, the jazz with folk. I don't know with a lot of mixtures in the 90s. It how it was the process of that moment. So now, why do you think always the death metal has this kind of approach to mix with everything? It's because just death metal. The black metal doesn't have this one, or the heavy metal or thrash metal, power metal. Just the death metal has this situation to mix with any kind of style in the world.
I definitely think black metal also has that capability. There's endless examples of that. But yeah, I don't know. Just well, it's also at this point things have just got regressive. People are playing music that is aping of it's just a fad thing that always comes around. So there was the Swedeath movement in whatever
Mm.
about 2010 or thereabouts. Now we're gone back into sort of more carcassy. Maybe we're moving out of that. So there's always these meat and potato bands that are always there. Um, I don't know. I suppose just it depends on how you look at the musical landscape, what you want to bring to it. We could have written an album that was completely within the confines of straight death metal, but that's not something that we would be interested in, both as listeners and as creators. Um, so I don't know. Just people like exploring music, and sometimes it works that they bring it in. Sometimes it's terrible. But that's the same for any music in any genre, I think.
Okay. And one thing that usually is that the black metal is still also is something doing something, some kind of experimentation in the music. But other thing that the black metal brings now, it is that you can see since 2015 or 2017, the black metal has a trend. Mostly all bands now has undercover their faces or undercover their faces using masks, hoods, and these hoods and these situations. How do you see this new trend into the black metal? Is good or is just for me? It's more like a trend. It's not like something different in strict music.
Yeah, I to my understanding, that trend has sort of stopped. I would have found it more prevalent um, in the early 2010s. Maybe it's just not where my interests lie that I don't see it. I don't care. Let them do whatever they want. It's of no consequence or interest to me. Um, some of it just looks fucking terribly gimmicky. Um, and I'd often find that then the music follows suit. It's just not for me. Often this stuff will be perfectly produced. It's mass produced fucking nonsense. But if it works within the grand scheme of a band, then I'm all for it. Um, but yeah, otherwise, yeah, I don't think about it. I have no opinion on it. It's yeah, I suppose it's just not something that interests me.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So now other thing, let's talk about now the black metal, the difference between like continents in this situation. Because when I hear Malthusian, you don't have this influence like Belphegor, more melodic or not brutal. Because Belphegor, Necrophobic, and other kind of bands into the European scene in general. The black metal is not hard, it's not stronger. But when you hear for bands, for example, Angel Corpse is more savage, it's more brutal, it's like I don't know, it's more like speed brutal death metal, something like that. So black death metal in this case. So and
Yeah.
why do you decide to lean down to this kind of influence for more for the black death metal brutal stuff than the European scene like Necrophobic, Belphegor, that is brutal, but not compared to the Angel Corpse or these kind of bands.
Yeah, it's a different type of melody used in. I don't listen to either of them bands. I've listened to Angel Corpse for most of my adult life, even my teenage years. Um, I got The Inexorable when it came out, well, maybe about a year after it came out. So that was a massive influence on me growing up as a teenager. Stuff like that and Nile and that more brutal American sounding death metal, I suppose, was more of my interest. Um, I would see no comparison whatsoever between ourselves and Belphegor or Necrophobic. Some of the Necrophobic stuff is great. The first album is brilliant. But that's just not, we don't have that melody, nor do we want to. Um, I suppose we are as equally rooted in doom and sort of bands like Esoteric and whatnot. to create a soundscape of horror, which melodic music generally doesn't lean into as much. So no, this isn't to say like obviously Angel Corpse are they're melodic. It's just it's just more evil sounding, which is always the way to go, I think. Yeah, I don't know. It's just what I grew up with, what I lean into, what I prefer.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Now talking about a little more about the promotion for this Saman and Bell. So what kind of promotion do you have for this album? Perhaps you'll embark some tours, present more videos, or perhaps you're already working in a new album for Malthusian. Who knows?
No, it's all quiet for now. Johnny drums in a different band, so he's gone on tour now for till the end of October. So it's all very quiet. We have a release gig at the start of November. Then we play in Iceland the following week. Then we have nothing planned till February when we play in Belgium.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll look at tours and festivals maybe for next summer, but we've all got jobs, we've all got lives to live. Um, so yeah, we just do what we can. We're currently, obviously, if Johnny's away, we're not writing anything, but we'll get back to that at some point.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so it's quiet. I suppose the timing of the album coming out in August as well, that sort of that cut out a lot of potential for this year, and then doubled with yeah, obviously Johnny being away. So that's where we are with it.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Now we're more than 2 or 3 weeks away from that this album was released. So now how it was the comments, how it was the reviews, and how do you take, for example, a bad review for this for an album with Malthusian?
Yeah, all the reviews have been positive. Um, it's always good to see. Um, but in the grand scheme of it, it doesn't massively matter. It doesn't change the music. Um, we've been doing it for whatever 12 years at this point, so we've been through all the ups and downs of different reviews and stuff like that. So you sort of become, uh, yeah, you become somewhat, uh, whatever, disengaged from it. But yeah, with this one, they've all been anything I've seen has been positive. So yeah, that's good. Um, obviously, if you're getting bad reviews, that is somewhat disheartening, but it doesn't change the music and how I feel about it. So yeah, there's too many people doing reviews, too many blogs, people with this, that, and the other. Um, their opinion in the grand scheme of it doesn't matter. Um, so that's where it is. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, okay. Now talking about a little more about this summoning bell. One thing that I will relate it with this one because usually is the ask the question for you was the best song in this situation, but it will relate this topic with the release of this new album, and we can feel at something like do you hear about this meaning about the synesthesia feeling that someone using or feel or hear the music and this person see colors, smell tastes and something like this when this kind of person hear the music. So if we relate this question with the Simone Bell, so for you what kind of color or tastes and smells will you find in this Simone Bell?
I don't know. Johnny has synesthesia,
Mm.
the drummer.
Mhm.
I haven't asked him what colors they were, but as we've been jamming over the years, at certain times he will dictate that a riff needs to be slightly different because it's a certain color when it should be something else.
Mhm.
Uh, that's fucking fascinating. And it's a great way to keep us within our parameters of what
Mhm.
we're doing. Um, personally, it's a dark album. Um, from everything from the lyrics, the artwork, the music, it all ties in together. It's like being shot through space. Um, not in the cosmic fucking whatever, but just yeah, being exploded into 1,000 little pieces. So I can't answer the question directly. Um, maybe you'll have to interview Johnny, see what he says.
Okay, okay. Oh, we're very close to this interview, Matt. And for this, so how do you see now the extreme metal is seen nowadays? Because I said it, that is a lot of cleanness into the extreme metal. It's not like the 80s or 90s. But also with this topic, there is a thousand, no, there is 50 or 60 releases per weekend. So in a
Yeah.
month, we have more than 200 releases per weekend. So that's amazing for us. It's not compare anything with the 80s or 90s. I was there in the 80s and 90s. It was totally different when you have 30 releases per 6 months, but now we have 30 releases in 1 week. That's a different topic. So now how do you see this overpopulation into the extreme metal or in the metal in general with a lot of styles, albums, etc.?
Yeah, there's a total oversaturation, and a lot of it is shit to my ears. I generally find that I retreat back to albums that I know. I constantly check stuff out, because there is always good music coming out. But yeah, it's tiring, and it really takes the enjoyment out of some albums. And again, back to the attention span. With that many albums coming out, people don't root themselves into an album and let it fully take hold. Back in the whatever late 90s, when I was getting into death metal and black metal and stuff like that, uh, if you bought an album based on its cover, and I had to either order it, my small town didn't have it, you'd have to either order it online, or sorry, by mail, or we'd have to come up to Dublin, myself and my friend, and spend our money on CDs. You're more committed to listening to that album and giving it your full attention, rather than the disposable nature of it now. And I know that I'm guilty of it myself. If uh, if I don't like the first minute of something, I might just disregard it. Um, I will then maybe, if I see or hear it in a different context, I may return to it. Or obviously, if it's a band that I'm familiar with and that I enjoy, I'll give it more time. But generally, yeah, it's a fucking mess. There's just too much, and there's too much mediocrity. So yeah, I find there's so many albums that have come out, uh, 80s, 90s, even the 2000s, that are still there just waiting to be unearthed. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't see it getting any better. Um, but yeah, I think thankfully I don't know how younger listeners, how they interact with music anymore. Um, nor do I really care. But yeah, I'm stuck in my ways. I know how I approach it. There's
Hmm.
still amazing albums there, both old and new. It just takes more digging through waves of shit.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Well, Matt, we arrived to the sad moment of this interview. Thank you very much for this interview, Matt. It was a tremendous pleasure. And this new Simon and Bell is a great album. We put a great score, 8 on 8 from 10 score here in Metalarium.com. So perhaps you want to add something to your Latin American fans and obviously Metalarium followers.
No, just thanks for the interview. I appreciate the review. Hopefully we'll get to Latin America sometimes because they know how to bang their heads.